Trump media is putting their money where their mouth is, announcing $2 billion of Bitcoin exposure, or 2/3 of their entire liquid treasury. Meanwhile, the Genius Act was officially signed into law, promising a clear and simple regulatory framework for dollar-backed stablecoins. But what does this pro-stablecoin legislation actually mean for Bitcoin adoption? And could it covertly pave the way for central bank digital currencies and increasing government surveillance? Stick around, because today I'll break it all down and reveal the signal buried in the noise. Let's start off with the huge news that dropped yesterday morning. Trump media announced they now hold roughly $2 billion worth of Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related securities. Now, this is a massive announcement by any stretch of the imagination, but what makes it even bigger is that the $2 billion accounts for a whopping 2/3 of the company's entire liquid assets. So that's a publicly traded media company bearing the name of the sitting US president, basically going all in on Bitcoin. Let that sink in. BitcoinTreasuries.net, a website that tracks Bitcoin holdings by public companies, now lists Trump media as number 6 on the list, showing that they hold 18,430 Bitcoin. But I do question this data, as no announcement has been made regarding the actual number of Bitcoins that Trump media holds in custody. The announcement made clear that the company holds $2 billion in Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related securities, which could include ETFs or stocks like MSTR. It seems like Bitcoin Treasuries got this number by calculating how much Bitcoin $2 billion gets at today's market price. But regardless how much actual spot Bitcoin Trump media holds, the announcement is a striking validation on the Bitcoin thesis by this current administration and the Trump family. This brings us to the other big news over the last week, and it's one that seems to be in contrast to the Bitcoin thesis. The so-called Genius Act was officially signed into law by President Trump late last week. Here's a video highlight of the bill signing press conference posted by the official White House account on X.
This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act. I pledge that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. The Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins.
This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. We have a deal maker in chief, and it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
With today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
Crypto industry insiders like CEO of Coinbase Brian Armstrong were at the event and applauded the bill, heralding it as the official start of the financial revolution in the United States. But prudent Bitcoiners were quick to slam the bill as a tool for regulatory capture, favoring large crypto firms over innovation, starkly contrasting with Bitcoin's decentralized ethos. And Bitcoiners are correct to question the incentives here, as the bill itself has everything to do with benefiting established crypto players and increasing and strengthening dollar dominance. Just listen to what Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, had to say about the bill at the press conference.
All right, thank you, President Trump. It's a great honor to be here, and it's true that I'd never expected to work in government at all, and then everything changed after President Trump came on my podcast, and I accepted this job as crypto czar because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people. And if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done? It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley, the speed at which you move, President Trump. It's really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. Treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance.
This bill's aim is less about a financial revolution and more about transforming US stablecoins like Tether into global digital dollars, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for US treasuries, which in turn funds inflation. Remember, US stablecoins are pegged one-to-one to the US dollar, the same US dollar that has lost 98% of its value since the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. But that isn't stopping stablecoins being marketed by the president himself as the greatest revolution in financial technology since the internet itself.
And in the truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile. And that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes.
It's funny, I always thought Bitcoin was the greatest revolution in financial technology since the internet itself. Now apparently it's stablecoins? And then there's the threat of CBDCs, or Central Bank Digital Currencies. A week before the Genius Act was signed into law, the Trump administration signed the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, which effectively restricts the Federal Reserve from issuing a retail central bank digital currency without explicit congressional authorization. This was apparently motivated by privacy concerns, potential government surveillance, and fears of overreach in monetary policy, and was part of a campaign promise by President Trump. But now with the Genius Act signed into law, many are questioning just how different a heavily regulated US stablecoin is from eventually becoming a de facto CBDC. The main and obvious difference between a regulated US stablecoin and a CBDC is the issuer. Stablecoins are privately issued by companies like Tether, while CBDCs would be issued by the central banks directly. But critics argue that heavy regulation could make stablecoins CBDC-like by imposing bank-like requirements like reserve audits or capital rules, which would potentially lead to indirect government influence or even a backdoor for surveillance. So is the Trump administration using the ban on CBDCs as a distraction and ushering in stablecoin legislation as the backdoor into further government control of our money? As of now, we don't know the answer to that question. But one thing is clear. Just like crypto altcoins ride on the coattails of Bitcoin promising further innovation in money and finance, the Genius Bill is doing the exact same thing but for stablecoins. Let's zoom out and remember the facts. Stablecoins are just a new wrapper for the same old dollar. A dollar that bleeds value year after year. A dollar that is still subject to the whims of politicians, central bankers, and the endless temptation to print more. Sure, stablecoins might make payments faster. They might make the dollar more convenient, more liquid, more global, but they don't solve the root problem. They don't change the monetary base. They don't free you from debasement. They just repackage the same decaying foundation in shinier tech. In other words, stablecoins do nothing to separate money from state. In fact, they do the opposite. Bitcoin is different. It doesn't just digitize fiat, it replaces it with something incorruptible. It's not pegged to the dollar. It's not a claim on someone else's balance sheet. It is the bearer asset. It's immutable final settlement. And that's the real revolution. Bitcoin is the first and only monetary network that operates outside any government, any bank, any corporation. It's the internet of value. Open, permissionless, unstoppable. No one can inflate it. No one can freeze it. No one can co-opt it. That's why Trump media putting 2/3 of its treasury into Bitcoin and countless other public companies doing similar matters. It's not just a hedge. It's not just a bet. It's an admission. The future isn't about making the dollar more efficient. It's about opting out of it entirely. So while Washington celebrates the genius of digitizing the dollar, remember the true genius was already here. A protocol created 16 years ago by an anonymous engineer who walked away, leaving behind no CEO, no issuer, no backdoor, just a perfectly scarce, globally accessible, incorruptible form of money. Bitcoin isn't just a better currency, it's a better system. This administration's embrace of stablecoins is an attempt to save a dying system. Bitcoin builds the new one. So don't get distracted by all the noise. The greatest revolution in financial technology since the internet itself is not dollar-backed stablecoins. It's Bitcoin. And no amount of regulation or congressional bills will change that fact. So if you're ready to move beyond the noise and start allocating with true conviction, Swan Private is here to help. The Swan Private team works with serious investors, family offices, corporate treasuries, and high net worth individuals to build long-term Bitcoin strategies, secure cold storage solutions, estate planning, and trust structures. Everything you need to build and preserve wealth across generations. Go to swan.com/private to book a call with a member of the team today. And if you want to meet the people helping to build the future of money in policy, in finance, and in infrastructure, then join us at BTC in DC this September. This is not just another conference. It's where Bitcoin meets the real world, lawmakers, asset managers, builders, and sovereign leaders, all under one roof. Go to btcindc.com and use the code SWAN for 10% off tickets. And finally, a quick shout out to Mara, the world's largest publicly traded Bitcoin miner, for supporting this show and for helping make Bitcoin the world's most decentralized and secure monetary network. I'd love to hear what you think of all this. Are stablecoins just veiled CBDCs? If so, why is Trump media going all in on Bitcoin? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, like this video if you made it this far, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel for more high signal every single day. Thanks for watching, and remember, TikTok next block.